Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Weekly Awakening Podcast. It is your host, Cosmic Colleen, back with another weekly astrology update. Happy new moon in Pisces, everyone. We're starting out this Monday morning with a new moon in Pisces. I hope everyone is waking up feeling a little bit lost, dreamy, lazy, all the good Pisces stuff. Kids don't have school. It's a holiday. Hopefully some of you don't have work. Now, the new moon was exact at 2:05 a.m. this morning. However, we're really going to be bathing in this new moon energy until it moves into Aries on Wednesday. When we look at the moon phases, the new moon, the full moon, all of that energy is very active while it stays in the sign that it had its phase in. So, we're going to talk about that today. And then we got Venus also moving into Aries today. At the end of the week, we have Mercury in Aquarius, trine Mars in Gemini. And tomorrow, the moon in Pisces, still in Pisces, will square Mars in Gemini. And then it's Mercury squares Uranus. So we have a little bit of a dynamic week, but a very soft, slow, lazy dynamic week. Nothing too major. It's going to feel a little bit better than last week did. Last week was good, but there was some intense, melancholy, serious energy that I know a lot of us felt. And I didn't have too serious of conversations. However, my all over energy just felt very serious and tired. Now, to add to that, I don't know if I talked about it on last week's episode. Mars in Gemini has been a really intense but good transit for me because it's really close aspecting my natal charts. I have it. It's been conjunct my sun. It's been conjunct Mercury. And right now, since last week, it has been squaring my moon and ascendant in the first house in Virgo. So since last week, I have not slept. Either my children, they have been very active in the middle of the night. They either come to my bed, they wake me up. They're waking up at like 5:30, 6 in the morning. I'm just having trouble sleeping. I'm not well rested. And I remember this happening because when Mars entered Gemini, this is like the third time since August I've had this. So I know it will pass. So it entered Gemini and it squared my sun, I think at the end of August, probably the beginning of September. And then it went retrograde and it went back and it went backwards and squared. And I remember that happening around October, November. And that's when I first realized, oh shit, I'm getting like no sleep right now because Mars, in Gemini, a very active sign, is disrupting my moon in the first house with my ascendant, my sleep, my cozy, good feeling, rested body is not feeling rested. And Mars moves about a half a degree a day. And we feel these conjunctions within the strongest within 3 degrees either way, leading up to the exact and exiting the exact. So I'm still in it. Last night I thought for sure I'd be sleeping and somehow I woke up this morning still exhausted. So I hope that this is a pretty good episode for you guys. I'm making the prediction. It's now at 15 degrees Mars and my moon and ascendant are both at 14 degrees in my first house of self. And I am making a prediction, I guess. I'm not good at math, so half a degree a day. By hopefully Thursday, Friday, I'll be getting some real sleep. I thought it was going to be Tuesday. It's going to be by the end of the week. And I am definitely exhausted. I love sleeping. Having a moon in the first house, sleeping, resting, relaxing, they're very important to me and very important for my all-over well-being. And I think in general, actually, for most of us, but especially if you have a close aspected moon, with yourself or maybe conjunct your sun, it's definitely going to be extra, extra important to you. And I'm curious, how has Mars in Gemini been affecting a lot of you guys? Reach out. Let me know what is happening with that. So the new moon in Pisces, we'll talk about that. And then I want to talk about, before we jump into the other transits, what I did this weekend, because I'm also very open-hearted right now. So we have the new moon in Pisces, which was, like I said, officially at 2:05 a.m. We're waking up with this new moon feeling, and we'll be feeling it until Wednesday. Now, I feel like last week and the transits leading up to this new moon, we're really about opening up those skeletons in our closet, seeing our patterns, seeing our behaviors, seeing those tough things that we're ready to let go of. Now, Pisces is the end of the zodiac. This is the last new moon of this zodiac year. And then we begin the zodiac year in Aries season with the spring equinox. It's a brand new zodiacal, is that the right word? Yeah, the zodiacal year, brand new. So leading up to this moment, we're freeing ourselves of some of those skeletons. We're not afraid to look anymore. We don't want to avoid. We've sort of immersed with it. I try to, blend two words there. Immersed with it, and we sat with it, and now we're ready to remove it. We're ready to forgive. I feel like this new moon is a lot about forgiveness. Forgiveness and love, I say this on every podcast episode, are stronger than hate and resentment. And hopefully the transits leading up to this new moon, you really looked and removed and saw parts of yourself that maybe were resentful, that maybe were painful. I know for me, last week I had like these resentments come up that kind of surprised me. And the week before, that really took me by surprise. But instead of running from them or adding anger, I sat with it. I just sat with my resentment and I looked at it and I really paid attention to my body and where did I really feel this resentment and why did I feel this resentment? And I felt it because it was ego. It touched the ego. It touched the pain body. And that's where I really felt that. So now we have this new moon in Pisces and those skeletons are exposed. We saw how we've been swimming with them and how we've been in the underworld. And with Pisces, it's associated with the other world, with the underworld, with blending worlds because it's at the end of the zodiac. So, and sometimes that's why Pisces get lost. We're in Pisces season right now. And I know a lot of Pisces. I love you guys. You guys are all in my life. But oftentimes Pisces have a hard time being settled in life. They are very intuitive with what's going on and they can get lost in their mind and get lost in their souls a little bit. And then they come alive. I feel like Pisces are the best during Pisces season. They just warm up, hey their world. And then the rest of the year is, ups and downs as they flow through timelines and through all kinds of other crazy shit. So we are now going to free ourselves with this new moon, begin this new moon, we're going to free ourselves of that resentment, of that anger, of that pain that has been holding us back. We have here, when we become adults, layer upon layer upon layer of pain. And that pain hardens us. And then it hardens all of our interactions with people in life because we're scared to get hurt. Each time we get hurt, we may think, oh, we're over it. We're moving on. I'm strong. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just going to yell at that person or be mean and just never talk to them again. However, that energy is still in us. It stays in us. So we're going to start with forgiveness. Like I said, we're going to focus these next couple days on forgiveness. And remember, if you want to be forgiven, I just had this lecture with my son yesterday with his brother, then you must forgive. People don't always agree with that, but if you want to be forgiven, you must always forgive. We oftentimes get caught up in the anger and the resentment that we have towards other people, that we forget all the times that we probably acted out and other people have that against us, right? But yeah, we want to be forgiven, but we don't want to forgive others. I know I keep talking about this. I feel like the last 2 months has been a lot of themes around forgiveness. So hopefully you guys are finally forgiving and internalizing what I'm saying here. So we want to sit with ourselves quietly today, tonight, tomorrow, and before Wednesday. All it takes is 5 minutes out of your time, 10, 20 if you really want to go there, but at least 5-10 minutes, okay? I would recommend 20 though. Sit with yourself quietly. However you get into that meditative zone, maybe you listen to some guided meditations, maybe you like to be outside, maybe you just can sit, maybe you're in your car. Either way, sit with yourself quietly and say to yourself first, I forgive myself. First of all, I forgive myself. Underneath all those layers of pain is oftentimes anger at ourselves. Angry that I believed that person. Angry that I trusted that person. Angry that I was so stupid, right? All these things we tell ourselves when we get hurt. And underneath all of that is sort of this anger at ourselves. I know for me, I'm like, different times where I've been hurt by people, I'm like, I should have known that. I'm intuitive. How did I not know that? And then I got all confused in my own intuition and angry at myself. So we sit and we start with, I forgive myself. And you got to say it out loud, and you got to feel when you're saying it, what is tinging in your body? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it down, in your lower extremities around, the buttocks and that whole area, the root chakra? Do you feel it in the head? I forgive myself. Oftentimes, as I say that, I can just feel my heart opening. And now that's also because I had I'll talk about that, the class I did this week. Now we go to, after we start with I forgive myself, say, I forgive others. I forgive others. Ready for that? I forgive others. And when you're saying that, if someone pops up into your head, if something pops up into your head, in that moment, free it, right? If you can send it green light from your heart chakra to them, and they can just get pushed out of your mind. But with it, that's an energy of forgiveness. I forgive others. And again, usually someone will pop into your mind. Whoever has been most recently caused you the most pain will pop into your head, usually. And we can't always remove that. But what we can do is acknowledge it and free it, but free it with love. So when you see them in your head, if something does come to your head, you open up your heart chakra, green, even white light, and just imagine pushing them away, but pushing them away with forgiveness and understanding and radical acceptance. Now here's another one. I forgive all the pain of this year caused by others and myself. So now we're going at the entire year and the shit that happened this year. We all get hurt and we all hurt other people as well. Hurt people hurt people. That is one of the truest sayings I learned many years ago. Hurt people hurt people. I forgive myself of the pain of this year caused by others and myself. Whew. Now, this is to bring forgiveness and understanding to all, and also this is going to help you bring forgiveness and understanding to all the lost turns that you took in life. That as well. Sometimes the resentment we have for ourselves and where we need to forgive ourselves is also added to the anger of, why did I do that? Why would I have gone there? Why would I have done that? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you didn't get lost. You ended up right where you were supposed to be. Life is not all shits and giggles and laughter and butterflies. Half of life, because everything is a polarity between light and dark, good and bad, happy, sad. Everything has one equal opposite, and the energy is equal, 50-50. So with this, you didn't take, so anything of this year, remove that you feel held you back, that you felt like took you down the wrong path, that you felt like didn't measure up to what you were hoping this year was going to. Remove that. Sit with that. Forgive yourself. Put your hand on your heart and another one on your stomach and breathe in deeply and breathe out all that pain. Breathe out all that resentment. Breathe all of that out. And that's what I want you guys to focus on with this new moon. It might also, I think, one of the things about Pisces is Pisces are very good at forgiving and often forgetting. Now, it's not always at the healthiest. They're also known to, people take advantage and, they don't have boundaries. And, you'll find them often being the ones who, are in bad relationships where they just keep taking the person back over and over again, even though they know that they shouldn't have. So with this, we forgive, so then we can move into the new year, the new zodiac year, open-hearted and ready to take the year on with an open heart. So if you need to go even further, you can write down. You can write down why you're upset with yourself, why you're upset with other people, what your resentments are, and burn them. free yourself of that. And you might even find it very easy with the season, with this new moon, to forgive, to have compassion, to have empathy, to have understanding, which will be very important. So I hope all of you guys get in that forgiving energy because it feels good. Now, I want to talk about what I did this week. I think I talked about it last week. I started this Chinese medicine, energy healing workshop I did this week. And we had a Wednesday night part. And then on Saturday, we were in person for about 4.5 hours, almost 5 hours. We were together at someone's home on the main line here in Philadelphia. And I just went there. I only knew one person who was going to be there. And that's how I found out about this. And it was amazing. First of all, it's amazing to share space with the collective, men and women, all of us in there together. And the teachers that we worked with, they were incredible. And I did so much, and that's why I think this came to me, healing and removing. I can't even tell you what I did. I mean, we were on the ground pretty much, hitting our lower chakras, tapping them, but in a very intense way, and screaming as loud as we could and freeing ourselves of this stuck energy that is in there. And I always challenge people, if you think it's hokey or energy isn't real or anything, get with someone. Get with an energy healer. Go to a workshop like this where you're with a collective energy and you're actually physically doing things to remove stuck energy, and you won't even believe what you feel, what you know, what you see. And it's a really wild experience. And through some of this guided meditation for a couple hours, and we also got acupuncture during this, a big thing I've been focusing on is, where did I lose somewhat of my joy, my happiness, my easygoing? Now, some of you are listening to this and be like, Colleen, you're so easygoing and all over the place. Yes, I am, but I used to even be more joyful. I was not so closed-hearted. I'm definitely guilty with the Virgo moon. When someone hurts me, I like to not, maybe I acknowledge it for the moment, but I handle my pain alone, and then I move on. I say, okay, well, that person is dead to me, and we're just never going there again. But that ended up clogging up my heart even more. And now I'll be the first to admit it. I don't like I have a lot of trouble actually intimately connecting with people and trusting them. So I don't allow a lot of people in my alone time. You guys, I've shared about this. I have tons of friends out there as far as just like a nonchalant, hey, how are you? Let's go let's do this. I'll meet you up here. But actually in my alone time, it's very little people and I'm scared. And so I sat there and while I was in this meditation, I removed a lot of that pain and I really went back. I went back to my inner child, to when I was the happiest, when I was the purest, when I was a little child before the world got to me. And that loving energy came out of me and I wanted that again. Like, it was crazy. After this meditation, I was like, that is me. That's what I want again. I want to see the world with that open heart. I don't want to be closed-hearted anymore when I interact with people because I'm scared. And that was a really freeing moment. That was just a workshop, and it's what I do after, right? We did a huge major cleansing. My aura is open, but it can close up if I do nothing after that. So I have to continue this work in order to keep this open heart. And that really is the beautiful way, because life is how we see it. We create what our mind, it's not like what's around us creates our mind creates what's around us. So and this is what kind of happened to me. I would view the world as not trusting. I don't trust people at all. And a lot of people I really don't trust. And so I kept interacting with people that I can't trust, people that are shady, people that are dark, all these things, instead of changing my mindset, which is my goal this year, to trusting people and loving people and seeing the good in people. And that's what I'm going to attract. So remember that. You see, right? You see what's in your head. Okay, so change. If the world around you doesn't make sense, you don't like it, you don't feel it, change your mindset and the outside will change. It was an amazing it was so good. If you want to know more about, especially this couple, they do acupuncture and energy healing. They just moved back to this area and I am all in that. I'm going to do some more sessions. This year for me is going to be a lot about healing. I'm always on that healing journey anyway. Okay, so that was this week. We're almost finishing up with a few other transits. We got Venus in Aries, moving into Aries. So right away, Venus is actually in her detriment in Aries and Scorpio. With Aries, it's in the opposite. Venus's signs are Libra and Taurus, and so the opposite of those are Aries and Scorpio, Mars's signs. So now we got Venus in Mars's home, where she's not happy. I mean, she's happy, but it's much more difficult, and she's working at her weakest. We just had her now move from Pisces, where she was exalted, working at her strongest and most supported, to kind of being thrown, starting out with Venus and Aries. So it's almost like, okay, here we go. We were happy. You learned some shit. Boom. Now let's go see what you actually learned and put it to work. Put it to work. So there can be definitely a little more fighting, a little more aggressive energy with our partners, with our loved ones, with our family, when Venus moves into Aries. Now, there was a lot of forgiveness with Venus and Pisces, so hopefully we learned a lot about forgiveness, and we can harness that energy today as well with the new moon in Pisces. And then we realize we don't need to argue when Venus moves into Aries. So if someone's fighting, if our partner's bringing something up, we can say, okay, wait, I learned about this. How can I practice radical compassion, acceptance, and forgiveness in this moment? But it will be hard. You will be tempted to fight, to argue, and to do all those warlike Mars things. And separate. We also can seek out a little bit more of a fast, exciting energy when it comes to our joy, happiness, and pleasure. Maybe we want to go out and have like a crazy BDSM orgy. Or maybe we just want to hook up with someone, someone at the locker room or at our gym locker room. I don't know, something that seems really more exciting, sexual pleasure. But even going out there, maybe you'll feel a little rebellious. Maybe you'll want to, rent an ATV and go plowing through the woods somewhere. And Venus also there has like a fiery passion, good and bad. So there can be some passion, there can be some fire. But it's going to be really, really intense. And I think with Jupiter there, and eventually Venus will conjunct Jupiter, I feel as though that is going to be electrified. I'm going to wait. We're going to talk more about that next week. When that happens, it's going to be very electrified, though. And there can be, too, like we want to maybe feel the pain. You know how sometimes you get you get numb that you actually want to feel the pain? We can kind of yeah, I want to feel the pain. Yeah, I want to do this little bit of toxic thing. Even though I know it brings me pain, even though I know it brings me that, I'm kind of excited. I want to excite things up with there. And the cheap thrills happen. And, we also might feel unsatisfied. We went from feeling satisfied to unsatisfied. I don't know why this isn't enough. Why isn't this person enough? Why isn't this one glass of wine enough? Why isn't this one joint enough? Why do I want more? And again, so more of excess and more troublesome energy for Venus. Now, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world whatsoever. And again, depending on your personal birth chart will depend on how big this is going to be. But this is just the general energy of what we can expect. Now, we also have Mercury trine Mars on, I believe I said it was Thursday, right? Yes, on Thursday. I'm sorry, on Wednesday, Mercury in Aquarius will trine Mars in Gemini. So last week we talked a lot about, especially with the Aquarius season and things moving during Aquarius season, actions with Mercury moving to Aquarius, words and actions are finally matching up. So last week, the week before, we woke up to brand new ideas. We said, you know what, I'm ready to do this, or I'm ready to figure this out, or maybe this is what I need to do. And they were brand new ideas, but we didn't have the action steps. This week, we're going to start adding actions to those plans. The new ideas that are bursting with life, we will now know which direction we need to go in order to make that happen. So now, again, we're putting actions with words. You understand me? Actions with words. In general as well, I think we're just going to have some good, fun conversations with people at the end of the week. It'll be easy for us to converse. We will want to converse. We will want to see what's going on with people, and we'll be in that energy until Mercury moves into Pisces, where Mercury's debilitated in Pisces, and that brings a whole other ball game. But, the planets shift, and so do we. Oh, yeah, one other thing I wanted to add is with this new moon in Pisces, tomorrow it will square Mars in Gemini. It will be very, very quick. It won't be anything major at all, but there can definitely be a little bit of some chaos. I feel like maybe a little bit of mix-up in your home environment. Maybe a little bit of feeling squirrely or anxious, or I just want to get out of this, and also a very quick pop of emotion. Maybe you quickly pop off on someone and you're not sure why, but you just say what you need to say. But again, it will move very fast. The moon moves very fast. So we're talking it's going to be for 5 hours, we might be feeling this energy, and we might feel a little squirrely, like we need to make moves, but we don't know what moves we need to make. And when it comes to miscommunication, it's going to be around just not seeing each other eye to eye, not really understanding what the other person really means, and that leads to miscommunication. So again, like I said, overall this week is pretty smooth, open-hearted, forgiving, flexible energy, majorly this week. Now, beginning... Oh my God, pardon my yawn. See? No sleep. This is what's happening. Hopefully by next week's episode, I'll have lots of sleep. We got a lot. Next week, actually, I'm sorry. Next week's the 2nd. Not this week. So next week, it starts the March chaos a little bit. Like I said, I think that March is one of the most dynamic, intense. March and April of this entire year, I think a lot of the intense stuff is really going to be happening right now. Oh my God. So I have Snapchat, guys. Sorry. Side note. And you know how random people can just call you or whatever? Literally, I'm looking down and it says ugly hose LOL Snapchat video. So somehow I don't even know who the heck ugly hose LOL Snapchat video is, but they're trying to video me now. Should I answer it? No. It's probably some creep. Snapchat has the craziest, creepiest people on there. I don't even know why I have that shit. Okay. Back to it. But next week we got on the 2nd, Mercury moving to Pisces. On the 7th, Saturn moving to Pisces. On the 16th, Venus moves into Taurus. So she's really only going to be in Aries for a couple weeks. That's actually pretty quick. So that's good. And then she goes back into her home of Taurus where she's happy again. So it's only this brief little moment. And then Mercury in Aries. So yeah. So, and on March 23rd is when Pluto moves into Aquarius. So, next week, the week after, is going to be a little bit more dynamic. So enjoy the relaxing, forgiving energy of this week. And you're going to want to forgive before Saturn moves into Pisces. I can tell you that. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening and for sharing this podcast. It's the best way you can help me out right now. Subscribe, rate, review, send this to a friend, comment on my videos on social media, all of that stuff. I'm Cosmic Colleen, 1C in the middle across all social media, and definitely follow me on there because I add way more updates while I'm out there living the transits day to day. I put that on my social media, and it's usually added information to this show. I hope everyone has a beautiful week full of forgiveness, love, joy, and happiness, and we will be back next week.